Okay, so today we're learning Substance Painter,
Hmm.
but you might notice that we are not in Substance Painter right now. This is 3ds Max.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go over some of the prep we do beforehand, uh, and you can do this in Blender as well, like the same applies to both softwares.
Hmm.
First order of business, before baking, we're going to want our meshes named. I've got Weltall here from Xenogears, Big Mech, a lot of objects. Your character will probably, I guarantee, not have this many objects. But everything is named underscore low, and the high, which I will reveal, has the suffix underscore high. So you might wonder why we do that. It is for organizational purposes, but it's not just for that. When you're baking in Substance, they give you an option to uh, bake by mesh name. That ensures that um, nearby objects do not imprint on each other. For example, if I were to just bake this as is without the naming scheme, this armor piece would leak onto here, and this leg joint would probably leak onto here. You'd get a lot of messy sort of overlap. So this naming scheme ensures that each part bakes independently of each other. Uh, and the next thing we're going to want to check, and you can do this in Blender as well, we are going to want our model to be triangulated. Um, you might see I've already got some tries going on here, but I mean the whole thing, like no quads at all. You can do that in Max by selecting the Turn to Poly modifier and limiting the polygon size to 3. And you'll see it suddenly becomes triangulated. In Blender, the modifier is just called triangulate, so it's very simple. um, as for why we want to do this, um, the model's base normals actually are affected by what direction the tries are going. So like the shading is different on some things. If this try is going this way versus if it's going this way, the shading's going to be different. And that's important because when you bake your normal map in Substance, it's going to be tailored specifically towards the triangulation of your mesh. Um, if you bake with quads, um, there's a chance that the triangulation that Substance bakes and the triangulation when you import into the game engine will be different. And if they're different, then you're going to be seeing artifacts in the normal map. So you want the two to be consistent. We want, okay, for sure, we're going to want this triangulation. So, after that's done, we can export. So I'm going to select all the low, and we are going to export. Let's see. OBJ is fine. OBJ does the trick. So I'm just going to name this Weltall low. And when you're exporting the low, you want the normals and the smoothing groups to retain. And the same applies in Blender. Okay, now that's done. We can export the high. So unhide all. Okay. Just kind of make sure I have everything. Like that. Okay. This. And we can export this as well. And we'll name it high. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, Windows does that. Okay. There we go. Yeah, for this we don't need to export the normals or the smoothing groups just because they're default, and plus it takes forever. So this is a lot faster. Because this is like, look how high poly that is. That is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, now we play the waiting game.
It's interesting seeing 3ds Max. I haven't used it in so long.
Yeah, that was this was the program to use in Brawl modding,
Yeah.
Smash 4 modding, and early Ultimate modding.
Oh, really? Wow.
But now Blender is king. But because I'm old, I still use it. But Nano is old too, but he switched to Blender because
Yeah.
I guess he adapts to things. But
Yeah.
Okay. So now that's done. And yes, I guarantee whatever character you're working on, I guarantee it will not be as convoluted as this. So, okay, now we can finally open up Substance Painter, which is, what we've all been waiting for. I'll just do File New here. Don't save. Don't need to. Okay, we wait for Substance to boot up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and here it is. My version of Substance is slightly outdated, but it should apply to, general current versions. It's not that old.
Yeah, it looks like exactly like mine.
Okay, well that's good news. Okay, so set the resolution. I usually go either 2048 and 4096. For this, for demonstrational purposes, I'll do 2048 because if I do this, it'll like fry my computer, and then the call will end. But okay, so we're doing 2048, and usually what I'll say here is start high res, and I just downscale for Smash. So, yep. We're gonna open Weltall low. Okay, and yeah, these UVs are insane, but they work, so. First order of business. This button here, bake mesh maps. This is what we're gonna want to be looking at. Set the texture size. Now we're gonna load our high right here using this button. Now this is the important part. This is where like the low and high thing comes back again. Match by mesh name. This is gonna ensure that it uses these suffixes. And I do like to throw some anti-aliasing in, but for the purposes of this tutorial, I will not because it takes longer. Oh yeah, another thing I'll go over real quick. If I open this again. It's a big file. You'll notice the high is color coded. Like it has all the colors that I want the final to have. This will actually come into play. And the same applies for Blender. Like if you're using Blender, the same applies to you. So that comes into play when we bake our ID map. Yeah, so let's get baking.
I love bacon.
Yeah, this is gonna take forever because it has like 80 meshes.
Oh, wow.
What if no high mesh, by the way? Then make one. No, I'm kidding. Well, if you don't have a high mesh, then you don't have anything to bake from. So then I guess you just be texturing.
Yeah,
I
like
mean, there are ways you can circumvent if you don't have a high. So you can check use low poly as high poly mesh. So,
I see.
um, if you really need to, you can do that.
Yeah, because in my Cosma model, it's not going to be high poly. Like it's just already accommodated for topology and all that. So
Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
I guess that would be that then.
Yeah, I'm seeing on my mesh. I'm having these artifacts here. Uh, see if we anti-alias. That might give us a better result. Yeah, the secret is having that high poly mesh, because you really want to transfer the details over, onto the normal map, onto the AO, because you'll see here in a second, and let me know if my voice lags due to the computations going on, because that happens sometimes.
Yeah, so far so good.
Okay. Yeah, the high is instrumental not just in baking the normals, but in like the AO detail too. Because if you like go to AO, you'll see like all this detail. Like this is from the high. Like this is, um, with a low poly mesh, you're gonna get like a decent AO, but you might have like some polygonal artifacting or whatever. So really, that's why I do recommend um, having that high poly mesh. Even if it means you have to make one, I think it's well worth it for both the normals and the AO. But yeah, so out of the gate, bakes are already looking pretty good. Um, Sometimes, you'll have to go in and manually fix some things. Like, for example, there's some minor baking errors, like right here and right here. Um, but, for the most part, this is actually satisfactory. Like, for our purposes, this is good. This is good. Then comes the texturing part, which, I mean, I'm kind of okay at it. Like, I'm not that good at it. But, we get by. Uh, you can start by just drag and dropping, thinking about the material, like, okay, this is a metal sort of mech, right? So we drag it on. Not bad, looking kind of chrome-like, pretty good. Well-Tall isn't super shiny, so this is. Oh yeah, should I go into PBR, or are you guys already familiar with PBR?
We're familiar, but I guess if you have any kind of 2 cents related to the software about PBR, that could be useful.
Okay. Um, I guess I'll just give a quick explanation of what it is. Even if you know it already, then couldn't hurt. Um, there's metallic, there's roughness, uh, and base color. Metallic and roughness are grayscale maps that sort of control the material of an object. So metallic is pretty clear. It's how metallic it is. Roughness might not be so obvious off the gate, but a rough object, think like sandpaper. That's not going to be very shiny at all. So the roughness is like this. So on the other hand, on the other scale, you have like completely shiny, something like super smooth. Think like metal. Think like leather would be kind of like somewhere around here. Different materials um, that represent uh, what you find in real life. But anyway, for our purposes, we want a kind of slightly shiny metal. We don't want. He's not like chrome, but he's not like sandpaper either. So we're going like somewhere around here. So, okay. Select the base color. Welthal is a purplish blue. So we do that. And we can, this is where our ID map comes into play.
Oh, if I can interrupt real quick.
Oh, sure, go for it.
Um, to be familiar with the windows and stuff, I noticed that you have that cool texture map on the right and then the model on the left.
Oh, yes.
Can you show how kind of it's probably similar to Blender where you can like just bring a window like that? I'm just curious how you did it.
I think for me it came out of the gate like this, I want to say.
Oh, like a preset layout.
Yeah, now this, you can move these around and stuff. I
Mhm.
like to have these in one group. Actually, the texture settings I sometimes will have one here, but yeah, the UI in Substance is highly customizable. You can find a lot of stuff here. I think there's a way to reset it. Yeah, right there.
Oh,
There.
okay.
So if you like mess it up and you're like, where the hell is everything? You can reset.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, just play around with it. Find something that you like, and yeah, go from there.
All right.
Anyway,
Thanks.
yeah, no problem. So yeah, we have a sort of purplish blue, and this is where our ID map comes into play. We can mask with color selection, and that's where we pick a color from our ID map. Now, admittedly, I probably made these colors a little closer than they should be. Like, the black and the dark purple are really close, so it might think they're the same. Yeah, see, like, it's like, oh, you want this. It's like, let's turn the tolerance down. Yeah. Tolerance should be like that, I believe. And this is from memory. I think Welthal has like a lighter purple for this. So it's like we can duplicate this. And this is still pretty simple texturing, to be honest. Like I just dragged thing. Like I haven't even done anything crazy yet. Let's get rid of the. Let's change the color selection to be this lighter color, okay? And then we did it. Oh, I see. Okay. Mask with color selection again, and there we go. Yeah. So lighter color. Believe it's like something like this. And I'll make this darker just for some contrast. Yeah, I think that's right. I want to say that's what should be going on. I'm noticing due to my low tolerance threshold, it's getting the gaps as like not being colored in, which okay, note to self, when you make an ID map, make the colors crazy different so it doesn't like think that the black and the purple are the same color.
That makes sense.
Like this could be like lime green for all I care, As long as they're like really different, then that'll go a long way. But for our demonstration, that shouldn't really matter. Drag another color. Let's make this like gunmetal black. Okay. Actually, I don't like that texture. It's good. If you scale it down, it's okay. But yeah, whatever. Okay. And we're gonna mask with color selection again, and yeah, something like that. That's good. That's good. But something that's really useful for robots and for clothing and for texturing details in general is a curvature map. And I wanted to bake this separately just because I wanted to talk about it at like its own time. The curvature map is gonna, let's zoom in just so we can really see. The curvature map is gonna define the edges of the mesh. So if we wait, we see what it's baking out. Um, yeah, for our purposes, this is going to be really useful. Actually, something I should do is have the base gunmetal at the very bottom. Like if we're picturing like a story of like how is this robot made, they might start with a base like sort of gunmetal gray, something really rough. And actually, I'm gonna change this because I feel like we can choose a better. Uh, let's go to a smart material, and let's say, yeah, a lot to choose from. Yeah, sure. And it already has some like decent mass out the gate, so. All right. And you can customize this. Like if you say, well, I want it to be worn, but I don't want it to be that worn, you can like turn that down. But let's see here. So, with that curvature map we just baked, we can get some really good like curve details. So we mask. We can use the curvature thing here to really get some details out. Like if we switch to the base color, you can see better like what's going on. We're getting some defined edges, so to speak. Okay, and you can customize it too. It's easy to get lost in like the okay, here we go. Yeah, you can like customize the threshold, the blur, the contrast, things like that. Uh, just something subtle, maybe something like that, and that adds some nice detail to your texture. That because imagine if you had to paint all of this by hand, like every edge, like every crevice, every edge.
That'd be so tedious.
Yeah, very tedious, very, very tedious. So the curvature map, quick, easy way to get um, those spots highlighted, and it really like makes it pop more. So we can continue. Let's say I want like a painted metal for the red. You know, not so much plastic, but like, mm, let me see here. Maybe just something like if I make a new fill layer, make like a red, uh, make it like slightly rough, slightly metallic. Like if we're thinking this is like red paint applied to a mech, and then I will, mask with the color selection again. Very useful. Select the red, and you could even use like the curvature here, because we want some edge detail, right? Some edge wear. Get that curvature. It's gonna be crazy at first, but hmm. I think the map is going inverse of what I want. You can actually invert mass and substance. Like if I don't like how it's doing. Like, I think, how do you do it? I don't even remember. But you can like contain things in folders, and then you can go even further by like masking by color selection by folder. So if you want to do that, you can do that. You know, just kind of mess around till you get the desired result. Because this curvature map is like, it's okay, but it's not highlighting the edges like I want to right now. Like, you see, it's needs to be more fine. But you know, you play around with it, you see what you like. See, here it worked out perfectly, so that's but you know. Okay.
For certain things, would you have to manually correct the texturing?
What about manually correct the texturing?
Like if something didn't show somehow with sliders, and it was still like generating weird, would you just have to color over it somehow, or is there like a way to select certain meshes to only texture?
Sometimes yes. Like sometimes if something isn't going the way I want in Substance, sometimes I'll switch to Photoshop and have more sort of control there. I find really though, if you do mess around with it long enough, you get what you're looking for.
Oh, okay.
Something I should do actually. I should open up my finished Weltall file and sort of demonstrate maybe how I achieve certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I go open up like the real file, see, yeah, it's loading in all the textures and everything. Okay, so this is the real one. Like no haphazard, uh, wear and tear. The curvature map is doing what I intended it to. Like you'll see right here, like the edges are as I want them. So it's kind of like, yeah, you just mess with the settings enough until you get what you're looking for. Like in the demo file, I remember the curvature wasn't even like picking up like this. Like this was just all red. But if you mess with it long enough, you get that sort of wear that you're looking for.
Nice.
The eyes, I remember I did like with emission, so you can, along with the normal roughness, all that, you can add emissive. And to do that, if I recall, you go to the channels here, you add the plus, you click on the plus, and you click on, where is it? In here? Maybe it gets, oh, it's because I added it already. Yeah, emissive, it's right there. So you'd see it, and you select it, and yeah, that's an option you can do. So, another thing you'll see that I do is I overlay ambient occlusion map very slightly. It's pretty easy to notice when you go into the base color. It just sort of brings out more details I want, like this sort of, defining edge is brought out more. And you can notice it even in like the material, like just that contrast and that definition is really brought out. So that's another method I would recommend, just kind of overlaying the AO. Usually with a multiply layer, definitely. You want to play with these layer modes. If you're familiar with any, software like Photoshop, PaintShop Pro, GIMP, any of that, you're gonna be used to these layer modes. But, yeah, I mean, basically you want to tell a story with the texture, like with how worn and torn it is, with how clean it is. Um, that's something to keep in mind when adding all this wear and stuff. You know, in Xenogears, they actually dug these gears out of the ground, like they excavated them, and I think they're from like a past civilization initially.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're refurbished though, so like there's gonna be some wear and tear from battling and stuff, and just from overall, um, like if something's too perfect, it can look a little plain. At the same time, you don't want it to be too grungy if it doesn't call for it. I find that a lot of substance artists sometimes they go maybe too far in adding the grunge in the dirt. Like look at Jump Force, right? um, that Shonen Jump game. They went too hard on the dirt there. I mean, that's the style they were going for, but in the instance of something like Super Smash Brothers, you want that perfect balance between not too clean. It's not like Wii U Mario. It's like almost no detail at all. Um, but at the same time, it's not Jump Force.
Yeah.
It's something. There's like a happy medium.
I feel like Jump Force, it's trying to be anime characters, so it becomes uncanny if it's too realistic at times.
Yeah, with Deku, I felt like he was pretty uncanny in particular. Um, Other characters that worked, all right for, like Rio from City Hunter looked okay in that style. Goku, I guess, looked all right. But characters like Deku really just look very strange in that style. yeah, like that GIF, that incredible. But I'm almost done with covering the textures. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, because this has been largely improv. I guess to just go over it again. ID masks go a long way. Because if you didn't bake an ID mask, you'd have to paint all this like manually. You can't just like click and select it, right? I mean, like you can like, if I make a new layer real quick, you can do like a polygonal mask, which is this button here, polygon fill, and then you can kind of, like if I wanted, let's see, where's my, okay, here we go. Am I doing by face? Yeah, I'm doing by face. And this is still very useful. Like, I'll still do this. Like, if I wanted, this thing to be a specific color without an ID mask, I can still, like, go in and do the polygon fill. Like, that's fine. That doesn't take that long, really. But, it's also very convenient to just click on the eye color tool and, select the mask.
Do you ever use the brush tool, or just mainly ID stuff?
I do use the brush tool, but I'm trying to think of like where, because I know I do use it.
Or maybe like a stamp tool for a certain logo, maybe?
Yeah, the stamp stuff I do use. There is an example of a detail here. This crevice here, this sort of trapezoid shape. This was not in my high poly mesh initially. It's actually kind of funny. While I was working on this, they made a new Weltall figure, and they added this detail, and I'm like, what the hell? We're doing this now? So I went in with really rough with the. Let me see if I still have that. Where did I draw that? Because this is just drawn in. Like this wasn't baked at all.
So you can draw normals to them?
Yes.
Oh.
So yeah, I literally just added it in like a new layer because I'm like, yeah, they added it in like a new figure. It wasn't on any past designs. I'm like, I guess it looks. To do that, you can drag the height of your brush down however deep you want it to be. Um, and you can draw. So, where did I do it? Is it like the mask? Or. Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, you can just kind of draw in, and you see it like indents. If I drag the height to be higher, now it it extrudes instead of being like sunk in it. So now you can draw on top. So it really this height slider does a lot, and you can go subtle, you can go really deep, you can go really tall, but I think it looks better if it's a little subtle, at least for this specific detail. And,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's an example of where I use the brush, and the detail is also here on the leg. Wasn't there before. They added it for a new figure. Sure, why not? So
Pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, that covers like the brushes. Um, Otherwise, that might be everything. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Uh, oh, and these crevices would be a pain if we didn't bake by mesh name. Like if we didn't have the low and high suffixes, this would just be a mess of baking onto each other and everything. Like, yeah,
Do you bake with the? I see the lighting
yeah.
shift whenever on that texture map. Do you bake with
Oh,
the lighting or do you just toggle it off?
oh, so like having baked lighting.
Yeah, like I'm seeing
That's
like
another thing.
shine go over it.
Yeah. So as I do this, I'm using the shift key to sort of play with the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
But baking in like lighting to your diffuse texture is a very good idea, especially for Switch games.
Mm.
I don't think I did it for Weltall, because this is going to be a stage asset for a
Mm-hmm.
stage I'll never finish.
Mm.
Well, might finish, but and because stages in Smash use light maps, I didn't feel the need to have any big lighting. But if you're doing a character, which I guess I can use Faye as an example, and this is like an outdated Faye file, so it's going to be, probably weird. But we'll look at it.
And can you show how to bake without that lighting layer?
Oh yeah, yeah, I can do that.
Okay, thanks.
Oh yeah, this is a weird file because I had changed the armor here, and right now you're seeing the wrong texture is applied. So that's weird. But anyway, you'll notice if I go to the base color, there's lighting baked on. Let me see if I can find my original layer I did that in. Okay. Let me check the soul too. Okay, good. I think that's the accurate, up-to-date soul because I changed it, but yes, this layer here, the baked lighting layer. If I toggle it on and off, which it'll take a moment. Yeah, yeah, here we go. So, you'll see it just kind of brings out more details. It's kind of like the overlaying the AO in a way. Just kind of brings out more details. See,
How did you
let me
draw the?
uncheck the AO so you can really see
How did you activate
the
that
difference.
mirroring? Oh wait.
If I really just kind of peel back here.
How did you activate that mirroring line in vertice thing?
Good question. This button right here,
Oh, okay.
symmetry. Yeah,
Nice.
very useful
Yeah.
if you have a character that needs it.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see. The highlights and the creases in the pants. Yeah, that's curvature. This is curvature going on here. Uh, there's actually I appear to have achieved this effect through multiple layers. Uh, so they're all kind of working together in a way. To the point where I have to sort of unpeel everything to see exactly what the hell is doing what. Um, but you'll see the boot is getting less detail because I'm like unchecking all the different like you know overlays and everything. Like AO's gone, curvature's gone. Uh, yeah, this is getting more basic how I wanna like demonstrate with.
It's possible to group these layers so you could toggle it all in one, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you have a folder, like you can make a folder. I did that for like some things, like the shoe is all in a folder.
Hmm.
Uh, is that the only thing with a folder? Maybe it is.
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe I specific. Oh, the shirt's in a folder. Yeah, yeah. There we go. Okay. So this seems to be the bulk of what is controlling things actually. Okay, so oh yeah, I put on like a dirt layer, which is like again. So if you drag on a material and substance, usually if it's not a smart material, it's just gonna look one color like this, which I guess if you're doing like a pre-render thing, it's okay, but we want some details in there, right? So throw on some dirt, you know, use our use a generator, a dirt generator, blur it a little, paint over, that's goes a long way. Um, put the AO on top of that. Like put baked lighting on top of that. Uh, more AO if you want. Apparently I did. Apparently I have two AO layers because fuck it, why not? But um, yeah, so that's just sort of an idea of how you can start to layer. It went from looking one color to now we're having these defined crevices and details and um, you know, sort of getting that diffused detail that we and yeah. Oh, the cloth is on the armor. Yeah, that is. If
So
you don't mask right, that's gonna happen.
would you say curvature is a big deal for all those folds and edges?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah. Curvature of your sculpt is going to be carrying a lot of this. A lot of these details are going to be carried by curvature, um, AO overlay, baked lighting, just all of them kind of working in tandem to make a uh, diffuse map, basically. Yeah, curvature is going to change your life if you're not using it. Um, And this all ties back to having a good like high poly mesh, because if you see this cube next to the baking map, that means it needs a high poly mesh to get that detail, to get that information, even you could say. Um, so if you don't have a high, uh, you can get these details again if you bake low poly as high, but I find that the best results are when you have like a legit like high poly mesh, and you can do it in Blender. There's the multi-res modifier in Blender. Oh yeah, yeah. If you want, I can do the low is high thing. I'll do it with Weltall, just because I have it on hand here again. And I'm using Faye and all the Xenogear stuff just because that's the latest project I was working on. Let's use low as high, and let's bake 4096, some AA, match by mesh name. Let's bake. And baking low as high might get results like you're cool with. Like, to be honest, like sometimes it does the job. But if you have a high, then we're gonna want to use it. Like if you don't have AO and you need it, baking from the low is not like a terrible idea. The curvature is gonna suffer though. Definitely the curvature is gonna suffer. Yeah, you probably saw like a preview of it. Okay, so this is what happens if we use low as high. Let's look at the AO first. So this is okay. Like this is, if you don't have a high, this might work for what you need, but you'll notice these edges are kind of like soft, especially for like a mech. We're not getting the hard edges that we're looking for. Um, Another place that's kind of suffering is you can see the triangles here, and that's because we used the low as high. You can also see triangles here. Yeah, it's kind of blotchy coloring here. That's due to the using low as high.
Are there any sliders for the ambient occlusion baking that you can mess with?
Oh, like how strong it is?
Like if you can make the edges harsher and less soft?
Um,
Because if the normal's fine exported, then I would hope that you could work with it a bit.
yeah, so there are these sliders for like the cage for when it bakes the mesh, but I can't really think of any sliders for like the AO in particular. To my knowledge, like I might be wrong. I guess there's AO intensity. But that's just kind of like how that displays, right? So,
Like I would think with AO that there could be like a curve. You know how you can have fall off and stuff like that.
Yeah. Maybe maybe I haven't explored that aspect enough yet, but to my knowledge, I think it's just this, and then what you see is what you get. There's this stuff.
I see the distribution. You might be able to change that
this
fall off, or maybe not.
Let's try uniform. See what happens. Self occlusion. wait, oh, I haven't played around with this. Yeah, you might have been cooking there. Because I was like, oh, this is all I need it to be. And then I never really took the time to look and read what the AO options were. But if we take a look, let's see what it does. Okay, I think it's really feeling the polygons here. Yeah, we're really feeling the polygonal edges with this one. So maybe that wasn't the options we were looking for, but it's good to know that the options are there. You know, if you want to mess around with it until it looks good.
I wish there was a preview instead of having to bake every time, but I guess
yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's true. It is true. Incredible in the chat. So we're seeing some edges. We're seeing some. This is like, to me, this is like the worst case scenario of baking with Hello. Like just really seeing all these polygonal artifacts. Granted, the first bake we had was a bit better. But not ideal. Another thing I'd go over is this character, this mech. For my purposes, it's not going to be moving. This is a planned like stage asset, so it's just going to be like docked, like chilling. So for my purposes, I can have the AO sort of be shadowy here. If you're having a character that moves, like let's say they, I don't know, move their arms and legs, this leg is no longer going to be in shadow. So that's going to look weird. Let's say we have the head move. Suddenly this shadow on the neck doesn't make sense, if the head rotates. Different things like that. For my purposes of a stationary object, like a statue, basically, this is like ideal. This is perfectly fine. But on a character that moves, like if we go back to Faye here, it's the latest Faye. Is this the latest Faye? I have so many Faye files that I lost track. If I go to the AO, you'll see that some things I wanted to shadow on each other. Like I wanted the armor to shadow on the tunic, just because I knew that, sure, it might shift around a little bit, but generally we're always going to be seeing a shadow cast there. This tie, I knew would be moving, so we wanted the tie to not cast a shadow. So how do you control that? Do you paint it? What I do is I explode the mesh, and that sounds pretty funny, but I'll show you a demonstration of what that looks like. If I still have that file. Is it, what's this one called? Organization is important.
You could probably sort by date modified to see your most recent. At the very top right, there's like a picture icon. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it sorted by date,
Hmm.
but I'm just wondering if I put it in a different folder or not.
Oh.
I'll just try this one and see what happens. Okay, yeah, this is looking good. Because, okay, you can see what I initially did. All the things I didn't want to cast a shadow on Faye, I moved outwards. Um, no, you're supposed to do that. Yeah, Incredible in the chat says that's what I do. I thought I was doing it wrong. No, this is there are leaked Capcom baking files, and they bake like this. So yeah, people in the games industry do this. It seems jank, but it works.
By the way,
Um,
what was the hotkey that you snapped the camera back to Faye?
oh, that is the F key. So
Okay.
if I go crazy, if I lose him somewhere, like where the hell is
Yeah.
the model? We don't know. Press F. We're back.
Yeah. Usually that means focus. Nice.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, this is a thing people do. Will in the chat also explodes his bakes. Saul in the chat also explodes his bakes. So okay, I guess this is a tried and true method. Um, by the way, if you're curious, Capcom bakes in Marmoset tool bag. I don't know why. They texture and substance. They bake in Marmoset. Actually, wait. It would be really funny to go over like a leaked Capcom substance file, but also illegal. Right? Right? So, in the chat, let me know if we want to do that. Like, if the conscious overrides the curiosity to look at a Capcom substance file.
Yeah, let's do that.
What's the law? I feel like, well, let's break it down. The guys that broke into Capcom's like servers and stole the files, they did an illegal thing. Um, if I download it, I don't know where that places me. Like, I'm sort of a third party here. Like, I'm an observer, right? Um, hmm. I mean, yeah, it's kind of funny to think about. Accidentally press download. Yeah, I accidentally went to the Tor browser, logged onto the ransomware website, and accidentally downloaded it. No, my cat did it. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that just ended up happening. Yeah, the cat went on the keyboard, and they do this. This is the thing that cats do. Anyone that has a cat can attest to this happening. Uh, they just do things. Um, but yes, let me know in the chat if we want to look at it or if we don't. I'm cool if we don't. I'm also cool if we do. I'm just curious. Okay. Oakso would like to see it. Will would want to see it. Does anyone not want to see it? Is maybe the question here. Yeah, make a poll. And all the answers are yes. Okay, hi. Welcome back, Soul. Um, so what's happening? I'm doing a poll to see if we want to look at like an illegally obtained Capcom substance painter file to study what they do. And we're sort of polling the chat to see if we want to or not. It seems like people are in favor of it though. Okay. Okay. So um yes. I'll open it up. I don't remember what directory I have it in. So it might take a little bit to actually find it. Okay. Yeah, I get that, Will. I totally understand. I mean, for a while I was like a leak collector, and frankly, I guess I still am. It's just that leaks haven't happened in a while. Um, so here's my leaks folder of different leaks I collect. It's pretty gnarly, but uh, Catcom Part 7 has Substance Painter files. So if we open, this is Spraying Balrog, okay? And I guess if this is like Japanese Balrog, is that Vega?
That's Vega.
That is Vega. Okay, yes, that is correct. So let's open this amazing file. See what they were cooking. Vega is a character from Street Fighter. Incredible. Yeah, he's the guy with the mask and the claws. There was a big name switcheroo that happened from the Japanese version to the American version, and it's all because they didn't want to get into legal trouble with Mike Tyson, because the boxer character, I'm pretty sure was named M. Bison in the Japanese version, and they're like, well, we can't have a boxer named M. Bison, you know, so they swapped some names around. Vega was originally the dictator, right? But in the U.S., he's known as M. Bison, right? I mean, his name sounds like Mike Tyson, which is really funny. Like, okay, so now he has the parody name, and Balrog was originally this guy, Vega. I think Vega's a better name for him anyway, but that's just me. And then the third guy that got involved in the switcheroo was who was it? It was yeah, Will know. Yes. So Vega, Balrog, and M. Bison went through a name change, and they just totally just swapped names. But anyway, we're here for Substance Painter. This is the Street Fighter 5. Yes, 5 DLC costume. For Vega. They're doing something crazy here. I guess they have all of his available articles of clothing on display. The reason why he's in grayscale is because textures are colored sort of on the fly in the Street Fighter engine. I think this is so you can customize the color. I think that's the reason. And it's like that in Tekken too. I think most modern fighting games do this method because it saves on space. Same in Street Fighter 6, same in Tekken. Yes. So that's why he's grayscale. Anyway, let's analyze what they're doing here. I was babbling on about localization changes. We're here for substance. They've got a dirt layer. Okay, I can't really tell what it's controlling. But they're using a mask. Oh, it looks like it's on his shoes, in particular. Let me zoom into the shoes. Yeah, it's really subtle, but there's a nice, like, dirt texture. And again, they're sort of telling a story again here. like, where is dirt gonna get on your model? It's gonna get on the shoes, uh, places, you know, like where they're roughing around. You know, you're gonna see that wear and tear. Um, so they've got a dirt generator, edgeware. They're using a curvature map here. So if I get rid of the curvature, suddenly that dirt, you know, it's like, bam, it's gone. But the curvature map saves the day. Again, curvature, really going to come in handy for multiple things. Cloth folds, robotic, like mecha metal edges, um, dirt, like leather edges, all curvature. This map, it does like so much heavy lifting. It's crazy. Um, let's see. Their folder game is on point. My folder game was pretty weak in my fave file. I was like, yeah, let me just have a folder for like the shoes and the shirt, and that's it. But they've got a nice organization going on here. And again, you can spawn a folder by pressing this folder button. Again, if you've used like Photoshop, um, it's very analogous. It's very similar. Um, I'm seeing the claws are using a nice like metallic map. So again, that's your PBR. Uh, if I expand and oh, they typed base in all caps except for the E. I like that. Like it. Yeah, we can mess around. Yeah. So exactly. Exactly. But if I recall, the cloth pattern they use here, I believe, is one you can find in like the stock like base substance. Oh, hi Sync. Looks like Sync's in the chat. Nice to see you. Um, yeah, let's see what pattern they use. They use like a weave. Uh, I don't know if this is like a stock texture in substance or if it. Okay, procedural maybe, but you're seeing they have a nice weave sort of normal detail going on here. I'm curious to check the height map. If you remember when I was showing with Weltall, the height map, I was playing around with it. You can see the same applies here with the cloth pattern. If you want it really strong, if you want it really weak. Obviously, we do want it to be like pretty subtle, so that's just something you can play around with the slider. Um, looks like they've got a actual like pattern, like polka dot, and then like a horizontal or like diagonal grid here. Curious how they're doing that. Like if it's a procedural thing or if it's like a stock thing, because sometimes these stock things have like a pattern. But yes, interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes these substance files can end up like mazes by the end. By the time you're done with all these layers, like it sort of becomes a maze. But you know, if you organize, then you make it a little easier on yourself. So. Yeah, that covers how they did things like the cloth, or you know the the claws, like the metallic and whatnot. A lot of this is curvature. And then details like this, I assume were baked from a high. Actually, I'm curious to see if the URL, or not the URL, like the path, is still there. And it's not. I was really hoping to see like some developer path for like where their high was or whatever, but that's okay. Yeah, details like this, bake from the high. Details like the hair sculpt, you're also going to bake from the high. The famous plastic banana hair from Street Fighter V. It is lovingly sculpted, though. I will give them that. You gotta like Ken Master's hair in Street Fighter V looks like bananas or plastic, but I guarantee like a dude lovingly sculpted that. I guess Vega's hair looks better, but still, it's something that Street Fighter 6 does a little better, right? So, yeah, this tail is not sculpted, is it? This is like, it looks like they have a sculpted base underneath, and then they have like an alpha covering on the top. But yeah, Will in the chat. Can Borderline never look good in 3D? Smash made it work. Yeah, Smash actually made it work, but a lot of the time Ken has been slapped with some sort of ugly stick in 3D. It's very funny. Yeah, Street Fighter 6 he looks good too. They cooked in Street Fighter 6. Trying to see like what else would be a good, because that basically covers everything. I feel like that was like, if I were to, we sort of ping ponged a lot and we covered a lot. So if I were to do a quick like cliff notes, I would say when it comes to texturing, bake from a high, because you're going to get a lot of details you wouldn't get if you're baking from your low. Use a curvature mask. Pretty much gonna help you no matter what material you're working with. Use like dirt masks where necessary, like grunge masks, just to kind of avoid a plain looking texture. Organize with folders. Easier for you, you know. Yeah, for texturing that might be it. I guess other than like the obvious, like, oh, think about the material. Like a leather is gonna have shiny roughness. Uh, metal is gonna be metallic. Certain obvious things like that. Hmm. Let me think here. And then when it comes to baking, yeah, bake with the mesh names. Mesh names are gonna save your life. Uh, Explode the mesh if you feel like it needs it. And yeah, that might cover everything.
Well,
yeah.
Thanks for teaching.
No problem. I know, again, we ping-ponged the various details, but somewhere there, everything was covered at least once.
Yeah.
But yeah, that covers it. I mean, I guess I'll close the program now. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say. So yeah, thanks for coming, everybody, and it was good.
Yeah, I'll put
Well,
it
let me
on YouTube
let
and
me
then
know if you
post
have
it.
any questions actually about the general process, maybe.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll probably reflect on the YouTube video later,
Okay.
and then once I actually apply it when I'm working on my personal model or anyone else, I'm sure they can or me ask questions at that time.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, sounds like a plan.
All right, great.
Um, yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. Yeah, even if some people came later, that's okay. This stream was recorded, not by me, but by Beyond. Um, and yeah, I was saying like most humans, I do cringe at the sound of my own voice on a recording. Like we're just wired that way. But I figure if it would be good, for the community, you might as well. And
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
uh, till then, have a good one.
Thanks, Pig. Have a
No
good day.
prob. No prob. Yeah. I mean, I guess we can chill in the chat if we want, but
I gotta go
I,
eat and do some
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I should go too. But it's been good, everybody.
Yeah. See y'all.
I'll see you guys some other time, and yeah, have a good one. Thanks for coming, guys. Yeah, later. Bye. Peace.